As our world faces growing environmental challenges, innovative solutions are essential. Let's have a look at the Watershed tool, designed to plan agroforestry interventions for future-proof watershed management. Watersheds are facing challenges from climate change and deforestation. Flooding leads to soil erosion and the sedimentation of rivers and dams. Combined with drought, this depletes water sources, all of which compromise water safety and water security. To illustrate its application, we will have a look at the case of the Mindu Dam catchment area in Morogoro, Tanzania. Here, agroforestry was identified among the nature-based solutions to conserve and restore the watersheds. Agroforestry in this region aims to harvest and conserve rainwater and prevent soil erosion. For it to be implemented, there must be benefits for local farmers. In other words, there needs to be a viable business case. The Watershed tool evaluates the impact of transitioning to several types of agroforestry. Using the Watershed tool, we can make decisions that secure water resources and support communities like those in Morogoro. Here you can see the Watershed tool, and in this map you can see the Mindu Dam catchment area. At the mountain range you can see the upstream area, and in dark green the midstream area, around the dam the downstream area. And this catchment is defined by its land cover classes. And you can see, for example, that the upstream area consists of 20% forest, 45% trees, and 35% rangeland. For midstream and downstream, this has also been defined. And then there are some important settings. For example, access to market, which is different for upstream compared to midstream and downstream. The climate scenario that is used is the same for all the land cover classes. Then you can see the trends. Based on this baseline scenario, you see a trend for livelihoods, for water losses, for erosion, and for groundwater. What is of our interest now is what will happen with these trends when the land cover is changing. One thing that is expected, for example, is that the area with trees is being reduced and compromised for cropland. If we make this land cover change, we can see that the livelihoods are improving, but water losses are also increasing. The challenge now is to find a situation in which the livelihoods trend is going up, but the water losses trend is not going up. So, for example, we can say we managed to conserve part of the tree land, so only 5% is being converted to cropland, meaning 40% remains tree land, and additionally we convert 10% of the midstream rangeland into spice agroforestry, as this was of particular interest of the local communities. Then we look at the results, and we can see, for example, that the livelihood trend, it is going up, while the water losses trend is going down. So water losses are being reduced. Then erosion is also being reduced and groundwater recharge is increasing. In this way, you can keep on experimenting with different land cover classes to decide where to focus on and what to do with the watersheds. If you want to know how these land cover classes look like into more detail, then you can open them in the FarmTree tool. Here you can see the interface of the FarmTree tool, where you can import your land cover classes. And additionally, you can even improve or create new land cover classes. Now you can see the land cover classes specifically for Morogoro, Tanzania. And here you can see the different ones for upstream, and midstream and downstream. The baseline land cover classes were defined based on the Sentinel-2 Land Cover Explorer. This is available for the entire globe. Then there was validation in the field, and we came to, for example, an upstream crop area with the following main crops. Then the other scenarios that we've seen before, for example, spice agroforestry, and you can see the species involved in this spice agroforestry system and the crops. And if I submit the scenario, I can see the impact of this particular land cover class on many indicators, and most importantly, hydrology. Here you can see the main inflows and outflows of water, with inflow, precipitation, and outflow, rainwater runoff, interception loss, soil evaporation, transpiration, and leakage to groundwater. And in this case, you wish to reduce rainwater runoff and soil evaporation as much as possible. Additionally, you wish to improve livelihoods. As you can see in the spice agroforestry, there are a lot of investments needed in the first year. When you look at the revenue by species, you can see that you only start producing income from your clove tree in year 5, because it only produces from year 5 onwards. It means that in your first years you need to generate some income from your annual crops. Then, looking at the annual balance, it looks like this. This is an important indication for the potential for local farmers. You can also change specific settings, like the climate scenario. You can change it, for example, to the SSP 5 RCP 8.5 scenario. Or, if you wish, you can increase, for example, the market access of those farms. The last important detail is the fact that these species are coming from the CAFS database. The CAFS database is running behind the FarmTree model and defines all perennials, annuals, and inputs based on their biophysical and socioeconomic characteristics. For example, for clove, there are specific variables and parameters defined. This information is as much as possible based on local knowledge and in that way calibrated to the local context. So, for the overview, the Watershed tool is developed for landscape planners such as local water boards and drinking water companies. The FarmTree tool user interface is relevant to agroforestry designers for the development of land cover classes. The online CAFS database is important for the storage of local knowledge and to allow for calibration.